Released on May 31st, 2025, Episode 9 of Yaiba Samurai Legend, titled A New Technique, marks a critical moment in the series' first arc, as Yaiba Kuragane's quest to master the Raijinkan intensifies amidst the looming threat of Takashi Onamaru's demonic forces. This Wit Studio adaptation of Gasho Aoyama's classic shonen manga dives deeper into Yaiba's training under Miyamoto Musashi, blending high-energy action with time-travel shenanigans. I found myself hooked by the prospect of Yaiba's growth as a samurai, but could this episode balance its frenetic pace with meaningful character development to elevate the stakes? Following Episode 8's chaotic time-travel mishap, where Yaiba and Mr. Sea Cucumber were flung into the past near Sasaki Kojiro's duel with Musashi, Episode 9 sees Yaiba return to his own time. Back at the mine household, he trains rigorously with Musashi and a reluctant Kojiro to develop a new sword technique to counter Onamaru's Fujinkan. Meanwhile, Onamaru's minion, Mr. Spider, schemes to steal the Raijinkan, leading to a comedic ambush that fails spectacularly. The episode ends with Yaiba mastering a new move, Thunder Slash, and a hint of an impending assault on Onamaru's stronghold, setting the stage for a climactic confrontation. Episode 9 advances the narrative by focusing on Yaiba's training, a crucial step toward his inevitable showdown with Onamaru. The introduction of the Thunder Slash technique is a significant milestone, showcasing Yaiba's growth as a swordsman capable of wielding the Raijinkan's power. Kojiro's begrudging assistance, driven by his rivalry with Musashi, adds a layer of complexity to the training arc, while Mr. Spider's failed ambush reinforces Onamaru's growing desperation. I think the episode effectively sets up the arc's climax, resolving Yaiba's need for a new skill while raising questions about how he'll fare against Onamaru's demonic army. However, the pacing feels uneven, rushing through the training montage while lingering on slapstick gags, which I find disrupts the narrative momentum. Yaiba, Musashi, Kojiro, and Sayaka are central, with Mr. Spider and Mr. Sea Cucumber providing comic relief. Yaiba's relentless enthusiasm shines, but his impulsive decision to challenge Kojiro mid-training reveals a stubborn streak that I'm concerned borders on recklessness. Musashi's mentorship, laced with smug confidence, adds depth to his legendary persona, though I wish his backstory was explored further. Kojiro's conflicted role, torn between aiding Yaiba and resenting Musashi, is a highlight, his grumbling yet effective coaching showing a nuanced shift from antagonist to reluctant ally. Sayaka's frustration with Yaiba's antics, like his accidental destruction of the dojo's wall, reinforces her role as the group's exasperated voice of reason, but I didn't like how her agency remains limited to reacting. The character's actions align with their established traits, but I think Yaiba's growth could use more introspection to balance his hyperactivity. The episode explores themes of perseverance, mentorship, and the tension between rivalry and cooperation. Yaiba's grueling training embodies the idea that mastery requires relentless effort, while Musashi and Kojiro's dynamic highlights how rivalries can foster growth, even if grudgingly. The comedic failure of Mr. Spider's scheme underscores the futility of deceit against determination, a subtle nod to Yaiba's straightforward nature. I really appreciate how the episode uses Kojiro's reluctant aid to convey the value of unlikely alliances, though I'm against the heavy reliance on slapstick to drive this point, as it dilutes the emotional weight. The narrative subtly critiques ego, with Kojiro's pride clashing with his need to help, but I think this theme could be deepened with more focus on his inner conflict. The episode expands the magical sword system, detailing how the Raijinkan's orb amplifies Yaiba's Thunder Slash with lightning-based power, contrasting Onamaru's Fujinkan. The time travel element, tied to Mr. Spider's space-time portal, adds a fantastical layer to the world, though I personally don't understand why its mechanics aren't clarified further. The modernized setting, Sayaka's smartphone and Mr. Spider's digital tech, grounds the story in a contemporary Japan that blends seamlessly with historical figures like Musashi and Kojiro, creating a vibrant, anachronistic world. I anticipate more exploration of Onamaru's demonic forces to flesh out the stakes. The dialogue is lively but inconsistent. Yaiba's enthusiastic outbursts, like, "I'll cut through anything," are infectious, capturing his wild spirit, but Kojiro's grumble decides, "This kid's a headache," steal the show with their dry humor. However, Sayaka's repetitive complaints about Yaiba's recklessness feel cliched, and I didn't like how the script leans on expository dialogue to explain the Raijinkan's power. The writing excels in blending action with comedy, particularly in Mr. Spider's bumbling ambush, but I think it sacrifices depth for humor, leaving Kojiro's arc underdeveloped. Overall, the script is engaging but could refine its balance of wit and substance. Wit Studios' animation is a standout, with fluid swordplay in Yaiba's training scenes, particularly the dynamic Thunder Slash sequence, where lightning crackles across the screen. Character designs, faithful to Aoyama's manga, are expressive, with Kojiro's exasperated glares and Yaiba's manic grins popping vividly. The use use of vibrant colors, blues and yellows for the Raijinkan's effects, creates a striking contrast with the muted Mine household. However, I noticed minor inconsistencies in background crowds, which feel static compared to the foreground action. A visually stunning moment is Yaiba's lightning-charged strike, though I think the slapstick scenes, like Mr. Spider's exaggerated pratfalls, overplay the cartoonish style, clashing with the serious training. The episode evokes excitement and amusement, with Yaiba's triumphant mastery of Thunder Slash delivering a thrilling high. Kojiro's reluctant mentorship stirred a mix of humor and empathy, his begrudging aid a highlight. However, I was frustrated by the lack of deeper exploration into Kojiro's motivations, which could have added emotional weight. The comedic ambush by Mr. Spider was entertaining but felt like a distraction from the training stakes. The episode leaves a strong impression, prompting reflection on the value of perseverance, but I think its reliance on slapstick tempers its emotional depth. I also anticipate the assault on Onamaru's castle will test Yaiba's new skills, keeping me invested. The episode's core lesson is that growth requires embracing unlikely allies and persistent effort. Yaiba's reliance on Kojiro, despite their tension, suggests that strength comes from humility and collaboration, while his training reflects the idea that true mastery demands overcoming failure. It's a meditation on balancing pride with openness, though I wish the narrative leaned more into Kojiro's perspective to deepen this message. Episode 9 of Yaiba Samurai Legend is a vibrant blend of action, humor, and growth, elevated by stunning animation, a dynamic soundtrack, and strong performances. Its strengths lie in Yaiba's progress, Kojiro's nuanced role, and the visually spectacular Thunder Slash. However, I didn't like the uneven pacing and over-reliance on slapstick, which dilute the emotional and narrative depth. The episode achieves its goal of advancing Yaiba's training arc, but falls short of fully exploring its character's complexities. I think it's a solid, entertaining entry, and I anticipate the upcoming confrontation with Onamaru will push Yaiba and his allies to new heights, hopefully with more focus on emotional nuance. For now, it's a lively, if flawed, step in a promising shonen revival.